So first test topic actually is order of operations. And so starting with number one, we're going to do all of these together, by the way, this whole thing. So 3 times -6 is -18. And then 2 squared is 4. And then -18 plus 4 is -14. Okay. Number 2. So remember PEMDAS, we do the parentheses first. So -14 minus 6, 11 minus 5 is 6 over 4. Okay, and then right here, this is very confusing, and there were a bunch of people who did this wrong on the quiz, so I want to go really slow here. A lot of people went plus plus. If this was parentheses, that's what you would do, but this is not parentheses, it's absolute value. So you have to take the absolute value first. So this is -3. So this becomes 3. Okay, and then -14 minus 6 is -20 divided by 4 minus 3. Which is -5 minus 3, which is -8. Okay, so be really careful about this little guy here. Okay, next one. 11 minus the square root of 9. So it's a square root, so I'm going to put the little branches off, 2 branches, because it's a square root. And reminding myself that 3 times 3 is 9. So this is 11 minus 3 over 2 plus 5. Any questions about where the 3 came from? Does that make sense? Okay, 11 minus 3 is 8 over 2 plus 5 is 4 plus 5, which is 9. And remember, on your test, you'll have a calculator, but you do need to show the steps like I'm showing them. So just do the problem in little bits. Okay, this guy. Cube root and make 3 little branches off like duck foot. What times what times what is 125? 5, yep. So I have -5 from this plus, okay, and what's the absolute value of -7? 7, great. Minus 3 times 4 because of the 2 squared. Okay, and then we want to do this part first, so multiplication comes first. -5 plus 7 minus 12 equals 2 minus 12 is -10. Okay, so when I say the test topics, when I say order of operations, this is the type of problem I'm talking about. But if you want to, if you're the person who likes to put the topics, you could write order of operations somewhere here so you would know that that's what this is referring to. Okay, next one is exponents. How are you feeling about the exponents? I think it's hard personally. Do you think it's worse than domain and range or better than domain and range? Mixed reviews, mixed reviews. Okay, moving down to this part. Okay, so 4 to the 0 is 1. Anything to the 0 is 1. X to the 0 is 1. 9 to the 0 is 1. 352 million to the 0 is 1. 3xy, 9 to the fifth, in parentheses to the 0 is 1. Mrs. Talbot to the 0 is 1. Okay. All right, now this is the one with the reciprocal. So negative exponent, it's going to go downstairs. And it's 1 over 3 to the positive 1, which is 1 over 3. Okay. This one is negative 4 times negative 4. And it's really important here that you see it's positive 16. If you enter that wrong in your calculator, it's going to say negative 16, but you have to know common sense wise that a negative times a negative is a positive. Okay. Number 8, there's a negative exponent, but it's only on the p. So that's the only part that's going to go to the denominator. The 3 stays on top, and the p squared goes downstairs. I'm hoping that that's helpful. Clarifying from the other day. Okay. Number 9, multiplication problem. Multiply the numbers, add the exponents. And I put a little 1 on there. You don't have to, but if you want to, you can. Okay, number 10, same thing. Multiply the numbers, add the exponents. However, what happened? Beautiful. And remember the 8 stays on top. X to the negative 2 goes to the bottom and becomes x to the positive 2. Okay. Next one. Distribute, for lack of a better word. Again, that's not the right word, but distribute. So this is 4 to the third p to the 12th. 4 to the third p to the 12th. Do you guys see where the 4 to the third p to the 12th came from? Yeah. Okay, what is 4 to the third? You're on fire. You are on fire this morning. En fuego. Did you go to bed early, perchance? No? You did? I feel like that's the key to everything. I don't know. Okay, again, distribute, not the right word, but it makes sense. So 3 to the third, y to the third, x to the negative 3. Three to the third, y to the third stays on top. X to the negative 3 goes to the bottom and becomes x to the positive 3. And then what is 3 to the third? Or 3 times 3 times 3? 27. Great. Okay, now these fraction ones, I like to write them out. I actually like to address the negative exponents and then write them out. So I'm going to write this one out. I feel like it makes the most sense to people. If you don't need to write it out, you don't have to. but I feel like it's something you're gonna always come back to. Okay, so I wrote it in expanded form, and now I'm going to look for giant ones, meaning the same thing on the top and the bottom that I can make a one. So I made that a one, and I made these a one, and I made those a one. And I'm left with 4 and 3 A's on the top and 2 and 2 B's on the bottom. And then the last thing I'm going to do is 4 divided by 2 is 2. Okay, number 14, I'm going to do a little differently because there's negative exponents involved. I'm going to fix those first. So circle, that guy's going to go to the bottom. Circle, that guy's going to go to the top. Okay, so 3 is on the top. X to the negative 3 is going to come to the top and become x to the positive 3. So that's this right here going up. And then 2 is on the bottom. And this x to the negative 2 is going to come down and become x to the positive 2. And then y to the third just stays where he is. Only flip the circle things. Okay, do we need to write this one out? It's notes, so it just can't hurt. Do you see ones I can cancel? 2 sets of x's, 3x over 2y cubed. Okay, so in the test topics, when it says properties of exponents, that's what this is. Okay, so we've covered order of operations and properties of exponents. Can you tell what the next test topic is going to be? It starts with an S and ends with scientific notation. So yeah. One person finds me funny. Okay, write each number in scientific notation. So put your decimal at the end. This number doesn't have a decimal, so I put it at the end. Now I have to decide how many spots to move it. And remember, scientific notation has to be between 1 and 9.9 repeating. So I got to move it in between the 2 and the 9. 2.9 times 10 to the third because I moved it 3 spots over. Okay, number 16. The decimal's already there. What 2 numbers do I need to move it between? 3 and 0. Beautiful. Okay, how many spots is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's negative because this was a tiny decimal that went to scientific notation, and this is positive because it was a big number that went to scientific notation. Okay, now this is where you're going to need a calculator. So if you don't have a calculator, grab one now. Go ahead and grab one from the tray if you need to. Okay. So number 17, first, can you guys tell that this is a multiplication problem? because the parentheses are like right next to each other. Okay, so when you have scientific notation with multiplication, meaning the parentheses are right next to each other, you multiply the numbers and then put times 10, and then you add the exponents together. Okay, so 9.8 times 7.5, 73.5. Okay, that's not the final answer though, because the number is too big, right? So where does the decimal need to go? Yeah, beautiful. In between the 7 and 3, so I'm going to move it that way. So 7.35. Okay, now this went from 73.5 to 7.35. It went down a power of 10. So I need to add a power of 10 to balance it out. And these are numbers. They're not exponent problems with variables. You don't try to move it to the bottom or anything like that. You just leave it. It's done. Okay. Division problem. You can tell it's a fraction, so it's division. You divide the numbers. In front. And then you subtract the exponents, but you have to be really careful. See how if it's a negative, you have to subtract a negative. Okay, 8.33 divided by 2.8. And negative 5 plus 6 is 1. And do I need to balance it out? It's already good, right? The number in front is between 1 and 9.9 repeating. So this one you don't need to balance. It's already done. Okay, let's hail upon page 2 when you're ready. All right, so we've got some function machines. All 4 of these are forward function machines. These 2 are backward function machines. So f of 4 equals negative 4 plus 3 plus 5. So I put 4 in here and I put 4 in here. Then I added the 4 and 3 together. So you treat these like parentheses. You do that first. What is the absolute value of 7? 7. So the negative is in front. So it's negative 7 plus 5, which is negative 2. Okay. All right, plug in negative 2. Pausing real quick, a lot of people miss this problem on the quiz that we had because they multiplied the 3 by the negative 2 and then squared it, and they got too big of a number. So remember PEMDAS, exponents are first before multiply. So what I suggest that you do to help yourself is make this 3 times 4 and actually write that before you move on. because -6 squared is a much different answer than 3 times 4. That one was great. I like that one. Number 21. I was sorry, I was doing my own thing. Last one of these. Okay, and number 22, there's two things to talk about. First, you combine inside the absolute value. And on the quiz, some people put 3 minus 2 or 3 plus 2 there. That's not how this is supposed to work. It's supposed to be like parentheses. So what you do is you take the 3 and then you take the absolute value of that and make it into a parenthesis. That will help you remember that it's multiplication because the 3 is right in the front, so that's times. Okay, backward function machines. These are the ones where you equal it. So -3 equals 4x plus 5. You don't plug it in, you equal it. Okay, again, backward function machine. You don't plug it in, you equal it. Okay. How do you undo a squared? Square root, right. Okay. Now, you might say 4 equals x. However, there's another answer that also works. So, when you square root, both sides, remember, it can be plus or minus. Both answers will work. And that's because when you square something, you make it positive. Okay, now what would happen? I'm going to erase this, don't write it, but what would happen if you have this? Can you do this? Can you do this? Right? Not possible. So you'd write not possible. You can't square root a negative. Okay, what about this? Not possible. You can't divide by 0. Those are the two not possible situations that we've had so far. Just want to remind you that those are a thing. Okay, last two, scooch down. Oh, yes, honey. Yeah. So if I were you, I might throw that one on my note card. Just to remind myself. My math 3 kids forget that even. And it happens a lot in that class. Like, plus or minus, plus or minus. They're like, oh yeah. Okay, last two. Is it a function? Domain and range. Okay, is this one a function? Yes. Why? Passes what? Vertical line test. I'm not going to show the vertical line test because it's just going to mess up my picture. But I am going to get out my orange pen that I use for domain and range. Okay. Because it's notes, I just want to put a little reminder that domain is X and range is Y. And so domain is looking from left to right. And what I noticed is this graph has an arrow. So it's going to go forever left. And the V comes this way, and the V comes this way, and the V comes this way. And then it goes forever to the right. And we call that all real numbers. And this is an R, it's a cursive R with two stems. It's not an IR. IR means irrational. That's not the same thing. Okay. Now, the range is the Y. I notice both of my arrows are going up, so my graph is going to go up forever. And the V goes to here, to here, to here, and then it stops right there. This is the hardest type when it's array. So when it's array, you write an inequality statement, and you're doing range, so it's Y is greater than or equal to -1. Greater than or equal to because my arrow is going up, and -1 because that's where the bottom of the V is. Okay, 26. Last problem of the review notes. Is it a function? No. I think the domain and range are a lot easier on these that don't have arrows, personally. We do need to talk about open circle, but not a big deal. Okay, so the very left of the graph is here, and it's closed. The very right of the graph is here, and it's closed. So that's the left, that's the right. And we write -1 to 2 x because we're doing domain, and then closed, closed. Okay, the range goes from here, but it's open. So make sure that your circle looks obnoxiously open so you can tell. And goes up to the top of 2. So -5 to 2. Y's. The bottom is open. The top is closed. That doesn't look very good. Bottom is open, top is closed. Okay, now can you guys look at your stamp sheet side, please? We just did this. For the rest of the period, you guys are going to work on the exponent's digital escape. It actually won't take you that long. It's kind of ridiculously easy. I don't know if you looked at it yet. You should grab your Chromebooks. But also, do you see what the homework is? Review assignment. Okay, it's in your packet, and it's right after the escape room stuff. And you should have a lot of time to work on that in class also. Yeah. Work? No. What? No. I know. You told him to feel better.
Yeah. But and now he's like out getting a rush right now because he wants to be in the front. Listen, are you serious?
Well, I mean, you can't feel that bad then.
I know.
Okay, so I'm in our Google Classroom. The top post is Exponents Digital Escape. And that's not what you wanted to see. Here we go. Why? Why is it? Why? Shouldn't be. Shouldn't be. Shouldn't be this much trouble for it to. Aha, okay. Oh goodness, it's really struggling. Is it the Wi-Fi? Probably. Okay. Now this digital escape is a lot of times they're a lot of work. This one is not. This one is a very quick one. But I do want to remind you, multiplication, you add the exponents, and division, you subtract the exponents. Okay, so on this first one, what is the answer for number 1? X to the what? 7. Okay, I am just going to write X to the 7. I don't like on my paper, I'll show you. I don't really know what more work I would show there. This is it. That's all the work I could possibly muster for this problem. So what is the letter of the code for X to the 7? B. Okay, beautiful. Okay, puzzle 2 is X to the 5th. Which is G. Oh, I'll show you. I'll show you. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. We can do this one in our head, so there's like nothing to, anyway. Okay, and then number 3 is division, so you subtract. So 9 minus 3 is 6, so X to the 6th, which is H. And then number 4 is back to multiply, so you add 10 plus -2 is 8, which is C. E, G, H, C, guys? Does it work? It does? I don't know. Mine doesn't work like that. I just scroll because I got the teacher one. Okay. Do you guys get the gist of this? What you're doing? Doing the codes, filling it in? You guys know what you're doing? Okay. Then once you're done with the digital escape, then start working on the review assignment in your packet. And I'm going to come stamp whatever I need to stamp, starting with this group. And then the last thing we need to do is we need to work on the seating chart in this class. There have been so many people leaving and coming and going. I need to figure that out. So I'm gonna try to do that after I'm done stamping. Um, I'm gonna try to take into account all of your needs because you're all wonderful.